Hello, everyone. My name is Mark. I'm a designated support engineer at HashiCorp. A little bit about myself. Lived in Boston for a few years. Currently in Jersey, so it's good to be back. I like doing projects on the side, so xDSnap was one of them for our customers. So, just to give a little background of what I'll be talking about, I'll be doing a little discussion on what started xDSnap, the features, and then the examples that runs xDSnap and next steps for the project. So you might be aware of service mesh. If you're not, it's just an infrastructure layer of way of connecting services via microservices with a proxy. And the proxy being of choice is usually Envoy. Envoy is an open source tool that you can use for service mesh to communicate. It's really helpful, powerful, not just for service mesh, but reverse proxies. And a lot of companies use it for customization. And then you add Kubernetes into the mix, which you're pretty familiar with, sounds like from the presentations. And with that, you can make a lot of integrations with Kubernetes, Consul, NCL, Linkerd. A few of them have service mesh integrations. A few times, customers that we ran into sometimes have troubleshooting and implementation issues with the products, and I was looking a way to help them out, whether that's through a tool that's already out there or finding a way to simplify how things work. And so a few pain points starting with air-gapped environments is whenever we're troubleshooting customers, it was a bit hard to get the data that we were looking for just because of they had to go through change requests, or sometimes it was hard to get the data because they needed time to scrub and redact certain information. So that would make the root cause analysis time a bit slower. Sometimes incidents could go a bit longer. And xDSnap was taking that consideration so that they could expedite the process of collecting that data. The pain point for manual troubleshooting, such as kubectl, being able to get those commands or scripts to customers or internally for their teams would take a bit of time. And we noticed that that could be shaven down if there was some type of automation. And so xDSnap was there to help out with that pain point as well. And of course, there's other tools that do that, but I want to make sure that both sides of the teams, our customers and our teams, can simplify that. And then lastly, the pain point of lack of guidance in troubleshooting service mesh. There are a lot of documents out there to help you with that. Istio Consul do a great job with that. But sometimes that first entry point of being able to troubleshoot is just maybe automating that collection of data. And that was one of the things that I had in the back of my mind. So that being said, I saw the pain points, my team saw the patterns, and I had a few questions in mind to try to help solve that. One of them being, what workflow could we leverage to make troubleshooting seamless? And this would be going from the debugging workflow. How can we help platform engineers, administrators from a user experience perspective? I've seen a few times where it was a bit rigid to help out teams, and it's a super pain point for that. And if there was a way to create an all-in-one tool, or at least start it, because xDSnap is nowhere near to have all the tools that I could have, but how can I and my team provide that for service mesh customers and even networking customers and for our internal teams? And really, that's where xDSnap was thought of. So a few features that I want to share about xDSnap are just the Envoy networking snapshotting. If you think of Consul and Istio, they have that baked in. But one thing about xDSnap that I really like is that the collection of data is pretty simple. It's quick. You don't have to think a lot. It just does it for you. Envoy has this thing called discovery services. So you're able to get API information from there, such as cluster info, endpoints, listeners. A few times customers don't like log levels being always set to trace. So being able to toggle on and off log levels is super helpful because you don't have to think about, oh, did I actually turn it off so that it doesn't fill up space in your environment? And I got a lot of inspiration from ksniff, which is like a TCP dump tool. So xDSnap is able to use TCP dump simultaneously with your troubleshooting so that you're capturing that. So really all of those things, you're able to get a holistic view of your applications, your data plane, and the network. It's compatible with Kubernetes thanks to the special interest group for Kubernetes and crew index. Initially, it was just a binary to for on-prem Consul. It wasn't meant for Kubernetes, but I really wanted to have our administrators have a seamless experience. So thankfully, you can use it with kubectl, which I'll share. You have ephemeral debug pods that you can use for your network namespaces, and you're using the Kubernetes API to create these pods. I'll just go over this real quick, but you don't have to worry about the underlying runtime, which is good, so it's not going to run into errors there. So if you look over here, you don't have to worry about this, but you can think of your Kubernetes cluster there. The data plane could be Istio, Consul. Envoy is going to be a part of that data plane. And so xDSnap is just port forwarding to get the API level stuff from Envoy. And then if you optionally want the TCP dump, it'll be fetched there too. I'll quickly go over this. So one thing I like to think about with different tools is it's important to complement tools like Consul, K8s, and Istio. It's not meant to compare in a sense of, you know, this one's better or not. I want xDSnap to be an overall improvement in the space so that we can help with troubleshooting. But Consul, K8s, and Istio really do help with installing via Helm, make sure custom resource definitions are added. They make sure things are registered correctly. But sometimes, you know, Consul, K8s, or Istio won't always be used to install things. It would be Helm or via Argo. xDSnap is supposed to be a troubleshooting tool specifically meant for getting your stuff on the network. And I want to make iterations of that, making sure that you can get all the on-the-fly data collection. And this just doubles down on, you know, traditional troubleshooting. You're getting these commands. You might have it in Slack. You might have it in your tickets. You remember to get it. But I want xDSnap to be able to standardize that, which it does today. And I have just a few examples. This is just the installation. It's super easy. If you don't have crew, you can install it on your OS, and then you can use kubectl crew to install xDSnap. An important part nowadays of the Kubernetes ecosystem is security. So I take security seriously when it comes to RBAC. There are no cluster-wide RBAC changes that are needed. You're just reading with the ephemeral container. It doesn't escalate privileges beyond the log traffic capture. And so in the code aspect, we make sure that dependencies are pinned, and there is a dependent bot that automatically up or bumps your dependencies. And from a vulnerability perspective, we have a CI/CD to make sure every pull request is checked for any imports that are vulnerable to the code space. There's a bit here, but you can see the root command, which is kubectl xsnap capture, and the flags really are just meant to target what the pod that you're trying to reach. We always say it's helpful to have like interval for 30 seconds in duration, 60 seconds or more, so you can have multiple snapshots to look at. If you're not using in-cluster config, it falls back to the path where you have kubectl. You have a log that's like this, a few others that show you your curling for the 19,000 port, which has a few of the XDS API components. And then the snapshot is just showing that you have the path where the tar ball is going to be created. Speaking of tar, this is what the file will have in it. So Envoy has your certs, your cluster, the config dump, the data plane logs. your pod logs, which is good, listeners showing the ports that Envoy is exposing, and of course your stats in your TCP dump PCAP. So overall, you have this holistic view, and though it's pretty simple, I think it's good getting to the basics of what you can do on the fly, and I think that's super helpful. So next steps. I'm really looking to use the AI analysis part of just how LLM works. This is going to take a while to do, but overall, I'm just looking to make sure that whenever you get your data, you can summarize what's happening with Envoy, with xDSnap, provide guided troubleshooting suggestions, so it's not just raw data. This is going to take a while, but I'm passionate about being able to get to this point so that we can further help service mesh. So if you're ever using service mesh, I hope xDSnap crosses your mind, and thank you for letting me present. Appreciate it.